Well, it's Friday and it's just the three of us. We don't have a guest. So we're going to pull up some stools to the bar and have various types of beer, root or otherwise. Meanwhile, you hear the printer going off in the background because somebody forgot that you don't print when somebody is podcasting. Meanwhile, you could hear all of it right here on this episode of the Learning Geeks podcast starting now. All right, I think the print job has stopped.
Good.
I can't hear it anymore.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. I didn't even hear it.
At least temporarily. Oh, it may start up again.
I know.
I could get something printing here if we want to keep that going through the whole show.
At any second, the door will open up, and then
I could tell my kids to just come on in if you want.
Yeah, why not?
Get our cats. Come on.
Why not? So we had planned to have a guest today, but that guest had to reschedule. So we will talk with them some other time. And so we thought, instead of skipping today, we wanted to just chat for a while and have
a happy hour Friday. Yeah.
Happy hour. Yeah.
You know, I miss those. I miss getting together with everybody at when we were all in one location in St. Charles. And
I do too.
Just had an excuse to get together. Often it was over at the big training center, the Q Center. There would be some reason for us to gather there. We had free hors d'oeuvres. I miss those too.
We
did.
And
that bar at the Q Center was a bar that was stuck in time in the 1980s, if I can recall.
Oh yeah. You're talking about that one with the silver walls or something?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. The one in the social center, which so the social center was originally the St. Charles Country Club clubhouse. And then it became the social center at the education center for Arthur Anderson and Company. Last I saw, I don't know if you guys know this, they were selling it as a private home. Like
interesting.
They sold it off, I think, as a private home. We should check Zillow next time we're in town.
Okay.
Why are you thinking of buying it, Bob?
Well, who knows? Anything could happen. Today, by the way, emotional day for me because I'm packing up to head to Chicago. I'm moving back most of my time. I will be in Chicago.
Are you excited about that?
I am, but the reality's starting to hit that I will miss being around here too. So it'll be both.
But you've always loved Chicago, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You got roots there from being a baby boy.
Yeah, friends, extended family. My son is there. So the plan is we're keeping our condo here in Long Beach, California, and this will be Sherry's home base, my wife's home base, and then when I am in Chicago, will be rooming with my son Harrison.
So I was going to ask this: is he paying the rent, or do you have to pay the rent? How does that work? I'm very curious.
Be paying the bulk of the rent, I believe.
I figured that.
I believe it's going to be prorated.
Okay.
So really, what we're doing is the wonderful my wonderful new bosses are providing a couple months of a corporate apartment for me, which is just absolutely lovely and wonderful. And so I will be right in the loop, just really, walking distance to work.
Right in the heart of things, yeah.
Yeah, so I can get started and don't have to worry about things and all that kind of stuff. When that is done, then I will move into Harrison's current apartment, which is in Oak Park. Mm-hmm. So if you know Chicago area at all, that's the first suburb west of Chicago. It's an 18-minute train ride. It's ideal. And Harrison and I have already scoped out 4 different high-rise, nice apartment buildings in Oak Park that are walking distance from the train station.
Oh, perfect.
So we'll basically have between April and the time his lease on his current place expires in September for the perfect unit to open up. And as soon as it does, we'll move in. His current apartment is really cool. It's a very old building, but it was... When he moved into it, it was slated to be rehabbed. And they were like, well, you can move in now and have cheaper rent and it won't be rehabbed. And that was the deal he took. So It's in desperate need of a rehab.
So since this is a Learning Geeks podcast, I have to ask, are you going to have to learn again how to share food in a refrigerator with a roommate? I can imagine some sticky notes with, this is Bob's. This is Harrison's.
We haven't talked through that so much yet, Jake. But I think we will.
There's going to be all kinds of little things you forgot you're going to need to talk about.
There's going to be upfront deals and dirty deals, though, too, in that I do feel like I will be providing a lot of the funding for foodage, and Harrison will be providing a lot of the cooking. He is a really good cook.
Oh, okay.
He's a really good cook, and he's an even better baker, which I'm kind of scared about because he makes really, really good sweets and desserts.
Yeah, you just keep your half marathon
exactly.
things on the horizon there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all good. Yeah.
So going back to St. Charles and the Q Center, I was thinking that we've all kind of seen the rise and fall of the big training centers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not complete fall, but I just remember before the big events, right, that caused everybody to go virtual. That was it. I mean, you'd bring people into big training centers, and you'd have the bars, and you'd have the free hors d'oeuvres and all the other things. And gosh, when technology became available to be able to do effectively, Zoom calls and things like that.
Yeah.
Just a lot of stuff shifted away, and we saw the pendulum shift way too far.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
To all online, and in some cases it's still there, but in other cases it's starting to settle back. Where would you say, Jake, where would you say McKinsey is on that pendulum?
Just in terms of like being in person and live training again?
Yeah.
It's actually, it's funny. I would say just not even just McKinsey, but even from other organizations, that pendulum is starting to swing back into where they see value in person again.
In person, sure. Yeah.
Not fully. I think it's fun. I think again, it usually goes too far one way and too far the other. And I think now they're starting to be a little bit hey, there's a huge need for the social learning aspect of it.
Right.
I know personally when I talk with others and kind of consult and advise others, my simple message is if you are in person, again, amplify the social learning. That's what it's great for. You have experts on site.
Yep.
We used to use that term too of sweaty palm moments. There's opportunities to design for those and create really memorable experiences again. And you could probably do them cheaper than what you ever used to, because now you have tools like AI to maybe do something like a simulation on site and create the experience more effectively, or just as effectively as we used to do. But it would take tons and tons of hours to design something really, truly experiential, years ago. So there's ways to do it. And I see that turning, Dana, now more, which is great. I actually really like the fact that it's got some of that, but then not everything is in person. It's just like you pick your right spots, whether or not it's milestone based or key moments of like, I always think of re-onboarding every time you do a new role or a new segment in your career to kind of launch it off to what's next and kind of give you the fundamentals. And then maybe even more localized stuff. That's where I've seen it and heard it from other people as well, other orgs.
Yeah, when I jumped ship, it seemed like what was happening was that we were finally figuring out what makes sense to do in person and what makes sense to not do in person. And because there was a while where, just we bring people in to physically be together to train them on things that you clearly didn't need. I mean, you could learn it in a book.
Right.
But we'd bring them together because we promised them training as part of the recruitment process, and darn it, we're going to give them training in person. And so I'm excited that the pendulum is now at least seems to be more balanced than it has been. What about Accenture, Bob? How when you left?
Yeah, when I left, you were seeing a little bit more in-person training than we had in the past, but still just not a lot. And, it's interesting that you bring up the pendulum, because I think I might come back to this a little bit later. I think in the learning business, we are so pendulum driven. It's like all or nothing, right? And it drives me a little bit crazy. But, and
sometimes, Bob, that's driven by a new technology that comes out, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody's all in on the new technology, so let's go and,
Or it's driven by something like the pandemic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, it was funny as I've been enjoying my 3 weeks of retirement between jobs, I actually was working on
it's a nice life, isn't it?
Yeah. I was actually working on my book. It's a great life, Dana. And I'm looking forward to enjoying it fully someday. But not today. I was working on my book which I don't know when it'll ever come out, but I was writing about the birth of the phenomenal learning model.
Oh yeah.
And the backstory on that really quickly for people who haven't heard it is when September 11th came. Well, before September 11th, really, like 99% of the training that we were doing at Accenture, it was Accenture at that point, what was done in person, and a great bulk of it was done at the training center in St. Charles, Illinois.
Yeah.
And when nobody could fly anymore, all of those courses shut down. And it was like training just kind of got dropped off. And remember, we were like, are we going to have jobs?
Right.
Until Joe Forehand, our CEO, said, we are not keeping the promise to our people that we made to them when they came on board. We're going to bring back the core curriculum. And then Jill Smart came around and said, hey, guys, you can't just bring it back. It has to be phenomenal. So we had to figure out what
phenomenal meant. Yeah.
We could have asked her, I always think about we could have been like, Jill, what do you mean by phenomenal? But no, not us. We were like looking through dictionaries and stuff. But,
we might have been afraid of the answer.
Could have been.
If we create the answer, then we'd start getting nods and, oh, that's great.
Yeah. So what we did to make the phenomenal learning experience was we said, okay, the learning aspect of it is a given. If you're going to have a phenomenal learning experience, then you've got to learn what you were supposed to learn. So that's a given. But what are the other benefits of being, at the time we were really focused on not the social center, that was part of it, the education center in St. Charles, but just in-person training in general. And it was the acculturation. So this is the place that you would really soak up the culture of the company. And it was the networking. Because at Accenture then and Accenture now, if you don't have a really strong network, you are not going to succeed. So it's those three things. And then underpinning all of that was the guest experience. And that kind of had two sides to it. It was, number one, we wanted it to be a recharging, restorative experience when you came for training, right? Like you were probably out working very long hours, very long weeks for demanding clients. And when you came to St. Charles, it was a chance to take a break. So we wanted to give you that aspect of it. We also wanted to make sure that there was no friction between you and the learning. We wanted to make it logistically easy. We wanted the communications to be clear, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I was thinking about that and writing about it and thinking we have lost a lot of those last three things in the pendulum shift to being mostly online. We've definitely lost out on the social. We've definitely lost out on the acculturation, and the guest experience isn't really worth writing home about. Mm-hmm. We did realize that we were losing a lot of that when the pandemic hit, right? We were thinking with onboarding, it might be a good time to start bringing people back. Well, actually, at the time the pandemic hit, people were doing onboarding in person. But then, of course, we had to shut that down, pivot to completely virtual. We realized people were missing the connection. We wanted to create that sense of place. And that was the birth of us using virtual reality, creating one Accenture Park and doing our onboarding experiences there. And that, that worked. That paid off. That was really good over time.
Yeah, I mean, one lesson kind of coming out of that is that we were on several occasions concerned about our jobs, thinking, are we going to have? But the need for learning endures, and it does. Even with new technologies that are introduced, the need for learning and the human touch endure.
What's always interesting too about, again, Bob, I think what you're probably getting at of when the pendulum usually swings one too far the other and they go all in. Yeah. It usually does result around technology, and there's always a huge promise in technology, as we all know. And our latest episode, which we just released, which I don't know what order would be by the time I release this episode, but one of them that we had with David on, we talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly, basically, of it. And And I think what's interesting about all technology, there's some really good stories out there that I've read in the past of how there's a lot of promise, and at the end of the day, it's more of an evolution, not a revolution. I remember using that. There was some video I remember watching, always stuck with me, of that. We have all these strong ambitions of what it can be, and not to say that AI is like a is bad or anything, because I totally really do enjoy it, and I think there's a lot of things that there's a lot of benefit in as well. But our jobs are still there. You still need to do the work, and in terms of learning, and there's more opportunities that exist usually coming from new tech.
Yeah. I'm always like super skeptical in my life, and I remember in particular where my skepticism radar would go up is when I'd step into the the tech fairs at conferences, right? I'd walk in and there'd be so much hype around a new tool. There'd be so much hype around this new process or new, because everybody's pitching their book and they're pitching, and it's like I'd have this like, okay, that's no good. That's no. There might be something here. Let me at least start a discussion. Okay, that's no good. And I'd walk out, and sometimes I'd have one or two things out of 100, right? That I'd say, yeah, this is worth thinking about more and maybe reaching out, because there are some diamonds in the rough. But boy, that rough sure gets promoted a lot.
It does. It does. And it's interesting because what I'm starting to see, I'm curious if you guys are seeing it, is I'm really seeing us plunging into the trough of disillusionment with AI, and especially with the development of content by AI. And one thing that I'm seeing, and I'm curious, I have a hypothesis that this is more prevalent in the States than it is in other countries. So I would love some of our international listeners, reply back to whatever LinkedIn post you happen to notice that we had a new episode on, or however you want to engage in the conversation, or ping us directly. I want to know if it's true in your country as well. But I'm starting to see such a repulsion to AI generated content when it's obvious that it is generated by AI. And people are getting much more savvy at spotting if something is generated by AI.
My kids already know how to spot it.
Absolutely, right?
They immediately say that's AI.
And then it's a non-starter.
Because reindeers really don't dance?
Because there's no way that Bob looks that good on a dance floor. That's what it really is.
I mean, but think about it. What is it, like probably 20 years ago, you used to also say that's Photoshopped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
7 fingers on one hand.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a repulsion to it, and there's a dismissal. There's a dismissal of it. Yeah. I was just evaluating a program that was being developed, and I was watching a video. There were actually a few videos in there where they had an AI-generated voiceover on the video. The video was great. It was well written. The actual video components of it were great. But the voiceover was so clearly bad AI. And I gave them that feedback. I was like, this doesn't sound right. You should use this vendor, which I knew was like one of the top voice vendors. And they're like, oh, that's the vendor that we used. Really? Okay. And they said, well, you have to go in and you have to tune it. You have to adjust it. You have to really tell it exactly how you want it to say it and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. At what point does that take more time and more money than just having somebody who, we've got so many people in the learning organization at Accenture who are really good voice talent, who can do great voiceovers, for quote unquote free. Why don't you just have them do a read of it? And I think we're going to start seeing that more and more often. And, as I was kind of in my closing days at Accenture, I was really focusing a lot on not just the learning side or the science side of learning, but the art side of learning and the human components of it, and realize it's both of those things that have to come together to be the most effective learning experiences that we have. So as we're saying with most AI tools is use the AI. This is kind of what David was saying, right? It's kind of the augment, don't automate with AI, but it's also the automate what makes sense to automate and augment where it makes sense to augment.
Right.
And I think there's also an element of don't pretend. Like if it's AI, just acknowledge that it's AI, right?
Yeah.
Because when you go into use Copilot or it's one of the others, that you're going to be fed AI stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to just kind of like pretend.
Yeah.
It's real stuff.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, especially
Bob's laughing.
No, I've got stories that I can't tell.
Oh, you could tell, but we'd have to edit it out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell.
Oh, okay.
Let me just say this is sometimes you like go in the morning and all of a sudden you have in your mailbox like a 15-page piece of thought leadership and told to implement it that, was allegedly written overnight.
Oh.
Yeah.
And had a lot of like, it's not this, but that in it. And a lot of emojis in front of headlines of sections and other telltale signs. So.
And M dashes?
Yeah, a lot of M dashes.
I don't.
You're giving away the trade secrets.
I don't know what is the obsession with M dashes with it.
It's weird.
Sometimes I just want it to copy edit for me. Please just copy edit for me. Don't give me M dashes when a comma will do. A comma will do.
Yeah. Though I use a lot of M dashes when I write and a lot of parentheses.
Well, that's the thing. I actually used to
commas.
like M dashes, but now I know that if I use
Spoil them for you.
someone's going to assume that I used it. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I use it for copy editing all the time, but it's usually my words and my language unless it makes some tweaks, but like I can't even use M dashes anymore because I feel like I generated it all.
Yeah. And can I talk about a place that is really annoying me where I'm seeing a lot of AI generated content?
Yeah.
It's LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
And it's social media in general. And here's my whiny angst about social media is, I probably realized like 5 years ago that I was addicted to the dopamine hit. So I pretty much got off of Facebook and Instagram and everything. And then, probably about a year ago as my 40th high school reunion was picking up, I had to go back on Facebook to find out, where is the high school reunion and get all of that information, and then to publicize the podcasts and all that kind of stuff. And I do realize this is where it's really hard is I feel like I do have a responsibility to put content out on LinkedIn as a thought leader in this space. This is a really good place for me to reach out to a lot of people with my thought content. But guys, I hate looking through LinkedIn. I get that anxiety. And
Yeah. Cortisol instead of dopamine is what you're saying.
And I've heard about people who are like, we don't want to go through Facebook because it just gives me all this anxiety. Like, I feel like I need to, keep up with the Joneses. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm living less than of a life and all that kind of stuff. I've never really felt that from looking at Facebook. I'm fine with Facebook in terms of that. I just think that's fun and engaging to connect with people. But LinkedIn, that's where I feel those exact same feelings. Yeah. I read the LinkedIn post and I'm like, wow, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I am not doing what I should be doing. And it really
think I'll go eat worms.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I 100% agree with that one. I'll say it. I don't like it. I really don't.
I know.
I actually don't really like social media in general. I don't have anything. I'm a lurker on anything usually. So I have an Instagram account, but that's usually all my people that I follow. It's sports related. That's all I've kind of maintained that just for that, and mainly because most sports teams only do their Instagram or their Twitter, and I do not have a Twitter. So it's like it's just that, but LinkedIn, I just don't find super valuable. I kind of find like the same thing repeated over and over and over again, and a lot of generated stuff. And I know we share our podcast stuff out there, but that's all I post anymore. It's just that.
Yeah. Yep. And like with Instagram, I'm the same way, but it's with pinball, right? Like, earlier this spring, about a year ago now, as I discovered the pinball community, like that was a place to keep up with it. And then, there's a huge online pinball community. It's a really great, friendly community, at least the parts of it where I lurk in. And I do all that with Instagram, but that's my pinball only Instagram account. Yeah. And that works out good. And that's really all that I look at.
And I have a Facebook account, but I honestly can't remember the last time I was in there. I was probably in St. Charles the last time I was in my Facebook account.
Yeah.
I do Instagram in part because that's where my kids post stuff.
Yeah.
So,
if
I want to keep up with the grandkids, often I find out more things about them that way than
Totally.
than through texting or calling or whatever.
But LinkedIn is just full of one hot take after another.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it is. It is. You know what's funny though is so you all know the report that we put out last year that I worked on and
Yeah.
you know it's a analysis of trend reports. So we're not putting out trends. We're actually generating a perspective based off of the trends and the signals that we read. But I somehow got connected to this long thread that was on there, and it was like a bashing of multiple trend reports, and ours was included. And then part of me got really frustrated, and then the other, because I really wanted to dive in and explain, and then the other part of me is like, I should be pretty happy that we were on a bashing thread. Like that means that it's probably good because someone got access to it.
And this guy thinks they're going to get eyeballs by bashing you guys.
Yeah.
Right, by the hot take.
So maybe it was even somebody from McKinsey who was secretly bashing it.
No, I know it wasn't McKinsey.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paid bot.
Yeah.
Some paid bot.
You're right. Yeah, it was some paid bot.
Well, whoever, if it was a paid, no, it wasn't a paid bot, but there were a lot of interactions with it. But yes, that's what it tends to be. It tends to be a lot of hot takes. Definitely a lot of changes in jobs. You know,
Yeah. Oh, that's the cesspool of, oh my God, the generated direct messages. Hey, folks, listen, if you are trying to get me to buy something in the learning space or to, like be a guest on Learning Geeks or, whatever it is that you're pinging me about, like, don't have your bot do it because I will just ignore it.
Oh, our email, our Gmail that we use is full of generated requests to get on the podcast with people and topics that have nothing to do with our area. It's great.
Oh, it's so rough being so popular, isn't it? With us, we Learning Geeks. We're change the beers to martinis and cigars.
And you know what? Since we're at the Friday afternoon bar, I'm having my favorite drink, mixed drink, 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen.
Oh, nice.
I am too. There we go. Yeah.
I had mine of same thing, but mixed with a protein
Very
scoop.
Good.
Yeah, because you're on the recovery, right? You've been feeling down a little
I've been
bit,
feeling down, 10 days of a sinus infection, and you could probably still hear a little bit of my voice. But lingering symptoms, it took me out. Like last week, I was in and out most of the week. But
That's rough.
It happens.
That's right.
It happens, and then you die.
It happens. It's good.
Hey, could we maybe? So my big hot take is that hot takes suck, and hot takes are generally one extreme or another. When usually it's somewhere in the middle.
No,
I see so many hot takes about 70, 20, 10, right? Hot take: you should program everything 7 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, or 70, 20, 10. Like, it's not proven, so it's garbage. Throw it out. Pay no attention to it. It's like it's kind of somewhere in the middle, guys. Like, it's a trend, and it's a guideline, and don't just scream something loud to get clicks. Jerks.
Especially if you don't have the background on it. I mean, I get a lot of people who just say something because someone else said it and it sounded good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
we get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not sound like we're grumpy old men this Friday.
Hey, it's Friday afternoon happy hour. This is what happens when you're sitting.
That's what happens. Exactly.
My kind of to make it on how do you take that hot take and how do you change it? My advice and what I would love to see more is people who, especially who are in this profession, to instead take the hot take route, which I see that a lot. But instead of doing the negative hot take route, you're in the education space or this space, maybe come across as more of a teacher. Teach the people that don't know this stuff as well. Mm-hmm. Even if you know it is false or incorrect, there's probably people who jumped in this field that don't know that yet. So teach it rather than taking the hot take and getting people to clamor onto your ideas and get those clicks and interactions, whatever the heck you want. I still don't know what the benefit of it is personally, but that's another thing.
Yeah. Or engage in some curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a different perspective than I've heard
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Maybe there's got to be some good. There's got to be some good in it, as our old friend Charlie Palmgren used to say, and I think still does. It's a human being who said it, so there's going to be something of goodness in it somewhere.
Yeah, but that's still, Bob. If I think of I still sometimes feel when I have used LinkedIn. I'm just going to use LinkedIn. When I have used that for work, I have still found some gems. I still found some great things that people. What I used to like about it is when I got access to or found an article or found something that I didn't run into. But then someone gave a perspective on it and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I can go read it. It still exists among the job announcements and the hot takes. They're in there. It's just, it's kind of buried.
Yep.
It's always one of the drivers.
If we're not going to do hot takes and it's in the middle, I'm still going to be on LinkedIn. There still is value in me posting stuff. I do get some stuff out of it, but it feels good to get off my chest.
Mm-hmm.
What I like is, I mean,
here.
There's
yeah, cheers. Raise a glass if it pleases you.
Yeah, what I like is there are several of our friends who post out there, and I always look at what they're posting.
Yeah.
Right? And several of our guests, and because those are more meaningful, and I'll often just kind of skim and go, oh, look, Tessa's posted something, or Megan, or whoever.
Yeah.
Lauren. Yeah.
The funny thing is as we're talking about this, I still realize I look at it all the time.
I know. Yeah. Hey, we've got a few minutes left, and I've got a few more hot takes that I wanted to share, even though one of them is hot takes suck. They have nothing to do with learning. So you guys ready to pivot off of learning?
Hey, it's Friday, so
let my once and future boss, Allison Horn, know you can check out now because we're going to talk about Marvel for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and Jake, have you watched?
No, I did not have time to watch all the episodes.
This will be completely spoiler-free. I believe that Wonder Man, the new limited Marvel series that's on Disney Plus, is the best thing that has come out of Marvel Studios since the original Iron Man.
Wow.
And I base that on this thought I remember walking out of that first viewing of the original Iron Man going, that is a superhero that I cared nothing about going into this story. And at the end of this story,
you couldn't wait for
my favorite
the sequel.
My favorite superhero of all time.
That's a good point. That's a good way to
how
say
I feel.
Then. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel. Ooh. And there's a lot of think pieces that are out there right now on why Wonder Man is so good. The writing and the acting and the
story arc is really good.
It's really, really solid. So what I would recommend to our guests who are sticking with us this far is, even if you're not that into Marvel, it's worth a watch. The same way, even if you're not that into Star Wars, Andor is still worth a watch as well. It's kind of got a similar vibe of being so different than the standard that it's worth everybody taking a look at.
Yeah. I'm going to start this weekend.
It's definitely different than the others, but I really liked it a lot. Yeah.
Cool. Great. What else is going on pop culture wise? This last week, Josh D'Amaro was appointed the next CEO of Disney. I think both you guys pinged me to ask me what I thought about that. I like Josh a lot.
What's up with that?
I always have. I was pulling for him in the race. I've actually met him a couple of times, and both times he's been super nice and super fun and really funny and engaging. The last time I talked to him was in an airport, and he had just ridden the Rise of the Resistance Star Wars ride for the first time at Disney World. And he kind of leaned over to me and whispered, I know you think I have to say this because I work there, that Rise of the Resistance is incredible, but let me tell you something. It's really incredible. And that was kind of fun. So I'm pulling for him. I hope that Josh does a good job. He's gotten a lot of critique for some of the changes he's brought to the parks, and the parks are so expensive and all of that kind of stuff. But, I am sure that there are Harvard case studies to be written, if they're not already, about why Disney theme parks are so expensive and supply and demand. And if we made things cheaper, nobody would want to go again. And, I don't know. It's a problematic thing. They just
It's
need to
funny.
build more parks.
There's actually a video that came out probably a week or so ago on Business Insider on their YouTube channel of why is Disney parks so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so they kind of break down the costs. They used costs starting in like 2006, around that time period, and then what it is to now, and then how much higher is it in terms of inflation. But then they do get into the reason as to why there was such an increase. It's only, I don't know, it's only like a 10-minute video. It's pretty quick, but
was it on YouTube?
yeah, on YouTube, on the Business Insider's YouTube page.
The Business Insider's hot take.
I wouldn't say it was a hot take.
All right, cool. Well, boys, we probably
done.
should wrap this. We should wrap this up. Any other last thoughts on the Friday happy hour we want to share?
No, but considering we didn't have a topic coming into it, I think we had a good chat.
Good. That was a lot of fun.
Not bad for a Friday.
My only hot take outside of like with pop culture, I finally watched One Battle After Another, and I thought it was fantastic. A little more real than I thought it would feel, because it was supposed to be a little bit more of a little bit of comedy inside of it. But I thought it was a great movie. I really did.
Really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? We just watched last week. It's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you can watch it for free. Train Dreams, starring Joel Edgerton, Uncle Owen himself, and Felicity Jones, Jyn Erso herself. It's a phenomenal movie. It's absolutely beautiful. It's almost more of a tone poem than it is a narrative, but it's got a very solid story to it.
Okay.
And it's very thoughtful and insightful. I highly recommend that movie.
Okay.
And yeah, we got to bring this to a close. Jake, I am sure I will see you sooner than I see Dana, because I'll be in Chicago as of next week.
As of next week. That would be fun. I will be here.
I'll wave as I see your plane going overhead.
That sounds good. And of course, we do have appearance coming up at South by Southwest.
Yes.
So that'll be happening in March. So
that'll be fun. I'm going to miss that, but Tessa Forshaw is going to join y'all. So there'll still be 3 voices.
Yeah. We'll miss you.
We have to get a
And to our
cardboard
listeners.
cutout of Dana.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like we did with Jake. Yeah.
We've done that before.
Yeah.
All right.
To our listeners, thank you. Don't miss the next episode of The Learning Geeks, or we'll miss you. That's something we used to say.
All right.
when I used to
Yeah,
work with kids.
that's corny. Goodbye.
I know, it's really sweet. Bye, everybody. Thanks.
See
We'll see
you,
you next
everybody.
time.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.